We are live on YouTube. You guys want to stop your video for now? Can you hear me, Steve?
Yes, I can. You hear me, Gwen?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You're muted.
IT's muting me and I don't know why.
No, I could say something, but I get in trouble when I do that.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right, I'm on. So Steve, if you don't want your face to show since we're on live right now, you can just hit stop video until we start.
Then all I have to do is hit it again to go back, right?
Stop video. If you guys want to hit stop video, just to put your name up there for right now until we start, because we are live.
I'll just mute it and sit back. Thanks.
Yep. Jerry, can you hear me? Leo, don't even start. Leo? Can everybody hear me?
I can hear you.
You probably heard the dog in the background going crazy, right? And I forgot to mute it.
Yep, haven't heard that.
I can
I think-
hear you.
Forgot, and he just went nuts.
Hello, John. This is Jim. How are you?
Jim, you might want to mute yourself. You're on live video
Yeah,
streaming.
I know.
Okay.
Hang on a second. All right, very good. If you have any problems, give me a call, okay?
Okay, it is 6:00 p.m. We are streaming live on YouTube. If anybody would like to talk during the open to the audience portion, please give me a reaction or raise your hand, and then we will call on you. Steve Heron, you're good to go.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Monday, December 7th, 2020 Vermilion City Council meeting. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of reflection or silent prayer. We will be having an extra moment of silence in honor of Pearl Harbor Day. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
And to the republic
for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty,
and
justice.
justice for all.
Gwen, if you could call the roll.
1 minute, I'm admitting people in as we talk. Okay. Hollowbacks,
Present.
Brady,
Present.
Luca. Frank, are you on there? I think I've lost Frank. He was on there. Does anybody see him? I don't see him. Okay, he was on. He might be coming back on. Skahan is absent. Holmes,
Here.
Stark,
Here.
Aaron.
Here. Okay, do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the November 16th, 2020 council meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Okay, Hollowbacks,
Yes.
Brady.
Yep.
Holmes. Brian Holmes,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
And I don't know, this might be Frank coming on again. Just give us 1 second. Frank, are you on here? Okay, I don't know where he went. All right, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So the motion's approved, correct?
Yes, it's approved. Motion
Thank you.
carried.
Do we have any correspondence tonight?
I have no correspondence this evening.
Okay, we'll go to the President of Council's report. I have no official report, although I did want to wish Councilwoman Brady a happy birthday today. That's
Thank
my
you.
only-
Hey, Barb.
Thank you.
So we will now go to committee reports, and I guess I'll just ask, I am going to report on the Vermilion Tree Commission very quickly and the Historic Design and Review. Does anybody else have a report, given the fact that we have not had a committee meeting? Yes, Councilman Olivex. Yeah. Go ahead.
Should I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Zoning Board of Appeals met on Tuesday, December 1st. We had 3 topics. The first topic was 1863 Liberty Avenue Road to Hope. After discussion, they were discussing the permitted use, variance request, allowed use, and that motion passed. The second item that we had that evening was from Stuart and Sherry Glauberman at 5436 Portage Drive. And what they had was 2 variances, front yard not less than 20 foot, proposed 15-foot variance request for 5 foot. That was tabled. The second was the side yard not less than 4.4 feet, 10% of the lot width, proposed at 2'6", and that motion failed. The last item, as I try to get to it, was Mike Welch, property location on Liberty Avenue. And that was for front yard not less than 75 foot, proposed 41 foot variance request. That motion passed. The second was permitted use, proposed workshops, variance request, allowed use, and that motion also passed. That was all for the evening. It was a long evening. The next meeting will be on January 26th at 7 o'clock, and most likely we'll be at Zoom doing that. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Hollenbeck. So I'm going to report briefly on 2 items. The first is Historic Design and Review Board. Historic Design and Review met on December 2nd. 3 items came before the board. beg your pardon, I believe it's 4 items came. First involved a utility building located at 5693 Liberty Avenue. There was an approval of that application. The next item were siding and gutters at 5495 South Street. That also application was submitted and approved. The next item was signage located at 736 Main Street. That matter was submitted and approved. And finally, oh, that's it. There were 3 items. So those are that was the activity in that meeting. The next thing I wanted to talk about very briefly was a submission by the Tree Commission. The Tree Commission did submit information regarding trees that they felt were dangerous, that needed to be removed. They've kind of been evaluated in terms of how dangerous they are. The cost estimated was $191,110. I just wanted to make it clear that the Tree Commission was not requesting that amount of money for their budget. They were simply providing information to the city regarding their evaluation of these trees. So they look into all of these trees and they look at how dangerous they were. Reference was made. But the storm we had a few Sundays ago, that quite a bit of wind that came through our area, and you know, obviously sometimes there's dangerous situations. So those are the 2 items I have. Are there any questions regarding that?
Barb, unmute yourself.
I would just, it's okay if I give a report on the planning commission now, Steve? I'm sorry.
Absolutely. I was wondering if there's any questions on my.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, go ahead, Barb.
Okay. The planning commission met this week. I don't have the minutes, but I just like to mention, they did pass a couple lot splits that were not controversial, but council may be interested in making sure that they read those minutes. The tradesman project was discussed in length at that meeting, and also the Summers property up on Liberty will be coming back to us for rezoning. So it might be to the council's best interest to read those minutes when they are available. And we'll be seeing that those 2 items down the road. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions or comments at this time regarding Barb's information?
No, but I'll interject that Frank's internet has disconnected. He's going to try to get on.
Okay, thank you. Any other council members have a report or information they'd like to submit? Okay, I can't see everybody, so I'm counting on you, Gwen.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, nobody's so far.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so with that, we'll go to our Mayor's Safety Director's report. Mayor Porthofer, good evening.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening. The first thing I'd like to do is just review our COVID situation in the city of Vermilion briefly. With information on the city of Vermilion provided by the Erie County Health Department, we currently have a cumulative cases of 228. That's up substantially from the last time I reported. New cases since November 30 are 17. Of those 17, 12 required hospitalization. And we now have 5 deaths in the city. All 5 of those deaths were in long-term care facilities. I also want to report on the Joint Healthcare Committee. The Joint Healthcare Committee met on December 4. The committee consists of the city's labor representatives, the mayor, and other administrative representatives. And these meetings at this point on will be held quarterly. Also want to make note of the snow removal. The services director will report in detail on that event, but I want to recognize the good work by the members of the service department and their contractors. Nearly a foot of heavy wet snow in our region on November 30th. I think it's actually the 30th to December 1st. And the plows took to the streets, and within 24 hours really had the streets pretty well clear of that foot of snow, which continued to snow for almost a good 24 hours. I know everybody has issues with how it was done, but the fact is that it was done in the avenues were safely open to emergency vehicles immediately, and these streets cleared pretty universally within 24 hours. Congratulations to them. As Council President mentioned, today is Pearl Harbor Day, and there was an observation today down at South Street Landing. The members of the Veterans Council held a brief ceremony down there where a wreath was tossed into the water, and taps was played. And like the Veterans Day situation, the Veterans Council did not want to announce the event in advance. Many of the veterans are in a COVID-19 vulnerable group, and they wish to keep the remembrance special but small. And they never let us forget that this is an important day in our history. I've also submitted to the City Council a junkyard ordinance. This ordinance basically makes junkyards prohibited in all of the city's coded sections. I understand that it's on the agenda for December 14th. The intention here is not to have a repeat of the junkyard that appeared at the entrance to Vermilion on Liberty Avenue, where an ugly junkyard welcomes visitors to our town. I ask council to give this proposed ordinance favorable consideration. And lastly, I want to talk about the city's insurance provider analysis. The finance director and I have submitted to council a report where that reviews the insurance companies that are qualified to serve the city of Vermilion. And I want to be clear that Insurance Partners has served the city well for the past 5 years. However, in an effort to be good custodians of the taxpayers' money, we felt that it was just good practice to do a periodic review of all qualified insurance brokers, see who can protect the city most cost efficiently. By my estimate, it has been about 5 years since the last formal review was conducted. And now also, Vermilion's a small town, and most of us have personal relationships with people in all businesses, including the insurance industry. So to remove any perception of personal favoritism, we've enlisted the services of NFP, a third-party services analyst. NFP is highly qualified to make recommendations in this area, and many of you may recall that we enlisted NFP to make a recommendation regarding the city's healthcare provider 2 years ago. And we followed NFP's recommendations, and it has resulted in substantial savings to the city. I want to, at this point, if it's okay with Council President, mention that Mr. John Dillon, a managing partner of NFP, has been invited to help me explain the assessment as was performed at the administration's request. Is that all right, Council President?
Yes, that will be fine. I tell you what, let's do it. Are there any questions other than the insurance issue for Mayor Forthover?
No hands.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Mayor. Yes, that would be fine.
All right, so Mr. Dillon, at this point, if you could help explain the background, your qualifications and the background of the NFP analyst.
Thank you, Glenn. Mr. President, member of the councils, good evening. My name is John Dillon. I'm accompanied on the phone tonight by Derek Warner. Derek Warner was a 10-year member of the Gallagher firm before he came to NFP 4 years ago. To give you a little insight on my background, I was born and bred in the insurance industry. I'm a lifelong Indianapolis native. I have been commissioner of insurance for the state of Indiana. And I also have a couple other unique perspectives. I was the chairman of the Indianapolis Bond Bank, which helps to put all financing decisions together and insurance decisions together. And finally, I was the chief deputy mayor for the city of Indianapolis. So I'm very comfortable in the areas of regulation of agents and also comfortable in the area of understanding municipalities. We were contacted by Amy, who asked us to put together an RFP. And the RFP that we put together then was sent out to 6 firms in the city. The 6 firms, out of the 6 firms, 4 did not reply. And we received 2 strong RFP replies. One from Insurance Partners Agency and one from Fitzgibbons Arnold. I will tell you, both were excellent. Both hit the qualification areas that we were really looking strong at, which was financial security of the agency, available carriers to be able to provide coverage, expertise in the industry, and the stability of operations. both firms were strong. I will tell you, at no point in time during our research of both firms did we receive any negative vibes or any negative comments on either firm. Both were seen as very capable of moving forward in this area. What came down to the end, and I will tell you that the final score on the RFP evaluation scoring sheet was 92 for Fitzgibbons and Arnold and 89 for Insurance Partners. It came down to the following. Fresh eyes are healthy. The fresh eyes coming into a client of your VIP importance are significant. The Fitzgibbons group agreed to a fee base. And although Insurance Partners said they absolutely would talk about a fee base, Fitzgibbons said that they would absolutely go with a fee base. Why is that important? Accounts of your type have moved from agents receiving commission to being able to go out and bid without commission and then disclosing what their fee base is to the city. It absolutely helps on a budget item and it helps reduce costs. What else we found was unquestionably that Matt Arnold is as he does with many of his clients. And it was interesting how we got several comments in this area, gives his heart and soul to his clients. And there's no question in our mind that we think their service to the city will be out. You may have.
Okay, is that it, John?
Yes, sir. I just gave you the broad highlights.
All right. Well, based on the NFP analysis, the finance director and I have chosen Fitzgibbons Arnold and Company as a new provider of insurance services for the city of Vermilion. A proposed ordinance supporting this new provider has been submitted to council. And I'm sure along the way there will be additional discussion, but that was Amy and my decision. So that ordinance has been forwarded to council, and I'm sure there'll be questions later. So that concludes my report, Council President.
Okay, thank you.
Steve,
Yes.
do you, that ordinance number is 2020-58. I just need to know if it's just gonna be a first reading tonight, and if you want it referred to legislative next
Yes,
week.
it would. Has to be referred to legislative.
Okay.
I would also ask, is there any time issue regarding this, regarding our present carrier?
Our present carrier expires at the end of the year.
That's correct.
All right.
Mr. President, if I might comment quickly.
Please.
Both agencies represent your present carrier, and it is our interpretation and review the present carrier has no issues dealing with either one and is prepared to move forward on your renewal.
Okay. I did have a question, and it's kind of general, and it doesn't need to be a particularly long answer, but you made reference to some advantages that you felt regarding Fitzgibbons Arnold, and you stated helps with budget items. Are you kind of saying, and are you basically saying that it is easier when you have that kind of arrangement to put in your budget and that the numbers don't go up and down? Is it during like a budget year? Is that kind of where you're coming from?
Mr. President, that's exactly correct. And I would imagine that you'll see a fee agreement between Fitzgibbons and the city in the area of 10%, which probably will save you 5 to 6% on your cost. And those are estimates. But I think they're pretty close estimates.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that information. I would like to discuss this. It is a very important issue. So yes, I would like to discuss the legislative, but I would ask, you're here tonight. And Mr. Dillon, so do any council members have any kind of questions right now on their minds they would like to address?
Someone's raising their hand, Mr. President. I can't see who
Yeah.
that is.
All right,
Steve, Brian Holmes.
Go ahead.
I'm actually just not a question, but a comment. I'm very familiar with Fitzgibbon and Arnold. They were the carriers for the Metro Parks when I worked there, and they did excellent job for the Metro Parks in the time I worked for them. So I would agree that Mr. Arnold does go above and beyond, and they did, like I said, a wonderful job for the Metro Parks.
Thank you. Anybody else? Questions, comments?
yeah, I just have a clarification for myself too. I noticed the period time frame is January 1st through December 31st, 2021. Is that correct, John?
That's my understanding, Gwen. That is correct.
Okay, because I
I
believe the
thought it was
last,
12/30. I thought it was 12/31, but it may be January 1st.
January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021. I'll check our last ordinance. I believe it was in 2014. And we did a renewal every year through a separate ordinance, but I just wanted to make sure in that time frame. Thank you.
2020.
2021.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? All righty. Gwen, you're frozen, I think.
Yes,
Hi.
ma'am.
Am I frozen?
You are, but we can hear you though. Okay.
Okay. I don't look frozen on my end, but
No, you're good.
trust you.
Okay.
Moving over here.
I got a dog here. Hold on a minute.
Go somewhere. Go. Don't do about anything. Go on.
All right, thank
Okay,
you,
we'll
John.
go to I'm sorry about that. Go to the service director's report. Mr. Valerius.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to inform citizens that this Wednesday, the 9th, is bulk garbage pickup and also the last day for yard waste pickup for the year. Yard waste removal will resume in the spring. I wanted to thank the street department employees for their response to the snowstorm last week. Several of the employees worked 16-hour shifts in order to keep up with the steady snowfall, which, due to the winds, often drifted across the roadways. The street department had 5 trucks out, with 1 going down due to maintenance issues, but they were able to get the vast majority of the roads cleared within 24 hours. The revetment project at Chosey Park will be finishing up this week. The project consisted of regrading the steep slope on the west side of the park and adding additional armor stone to the bank from the western property line to approximately 40 feet east of the pier. The pier was also expanded further inland by adding 2 courses of blocks set below grade and pouring an 8-inch thick concrete cap on top of the blocks to create a new sidewalk out to the pier. This project was approved by the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, and a permit was issued on September 10th of this year. Lastly, tonight, I wanted to give a quick update on the meter replacement project. We are down to approximately 200 inside meters that have yet to be scheduled for replacement. Because Lorain County is classified as purple in the COVID ratings, we are not mandating meter replacement at this time, but will still do so once the county ratings begin to drop. The last of the collector poles were installed today and will begin collecting and recording individual water usage for the next billing cycle. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Valerius. And I would echo the very difficult job that was had to do with that storm, and appreciate the efforts that they made. And I appreciate it very much. Are there any other members of council with questions or comments for Mr. Valerius tonight?
No.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Valerius. All right, Ms. Hendricks is on vacation or is off. I guess, I don't know, but we'll go to our city engineers report, Mr. Howard.
Thank you, Council President. I have no report tonight.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody actually have any questions for Mr. Howard tonight? All right, thank you. And is Mr. Stumphauser with us?
yes, he is.
Okay,
Can you unmute?
we'll go to the law director's report. with Mr. Stumphauser.
I have no report this evening, Mr. Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Stumphauser. Any questions for Mr. Stumphauser anybody may have? We do not have response to the audience, and we'll go to open to the audience. And yes, if you would like to address council, simply put your hand up and Ms. Fisher will let us know who you are and go ahead and
Homer
do it.
Taft.
Okay, very well. Mr. Taft.
Thank you, Council President Herron, and I'll join you in wishing Councilwoman Brady a happy birthday. I want to speak primarily on two zoning matters tonight. The first is that I would hope that next week the council would consider legislation, unless the mayor's junk yard ordinance already covers it, that would have prohibited use of storage units in business zoning. As has now been reported, the Planning Commission decided to send this back to you with very little change from the prior plan, other than eliminating storage containers, that you rejected unanimously. And frankly, it seemed like they already had their mind made up by some comments that were made at the beginning of the meeting before they heard from anybody. And they had not considered any of the correspondence or testimony that was given by dozens of people before you. I think it was a very unfortunate decision. But the only way the council's will and the people's will is going to be heard is if you move this. I don't think it's even a legitimate conditional use under your ordinance as they sit now. But nevertheless, I think the only way that you can control this is simply to pass an ordinance that says that storage units are not appropriate in a B1, 2, 3, or 4 zone, period. Clearly, they're already allowed in industrial zones, specifically in your ordinances. I won't go into all the reasons why, other than to say, you know, in 10 or 20 years, if you want to know what storage units are going to look like, go down on Route 60 and look at the one that's been abandoned down there and what it looks like. That's the direction that's going, and that's not what we want on our front yard. The other zoning matter I wanted to discuss was home occupation. I'd spoken briefly about this before, that there are certain things within home occupation that I don't think the city should be making people spend $80 to go to the BZA to ask whether may I. As I've said before, we're making misdemeanor rentals out of a majority of our working citizens who have been forced to work from time to time from home. If you look at your own ordinances, there is a definition under home occupation for a minor home occupation. That is the form of occupation that in virtually every city is a permitted use without any permission. But not here, because you never said so in your ordinances. You define it, and that's the last time it basically appears. So I would hope that you would consider legislation on that subject. One other matter I'll mention is I haven't heard anything for a while on the VOL laterals. I'm hoping that at a committee meeting soon, we will hear proposed solutions to the problem of stormwater intrusion in our sanitary system. I'd really like not to go through another year here like that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taft. You know, just a point of clarification, Mr. Taft, you're talking about like the storage units when you go down 60, just coming into like Vermilion Township, right? Not quite to Dunkin' Donuts, and it'd be on the east side of the road. when you, and I'm just referencing your, go down Route 60 and take a look at it. I'm just. It was 60,
Yes, it's this side, north of Dunkin' Donuts on the
Okay.
west side of the road, behind a couple of, I think, converted houses in part, but yes.
West or east side of the road? I
That'd
apologize.
be east side.
I'm sorry, east side of the road. That's the west.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm getting turned around again.
Not a problem. Thank you very much. Thank you for answering. the question.
Monica? Monica?
Yeah. Oh, can you hear me okay? Okay, I just wanted to interject. I do know that that storage unit, that particular one on 60, it's in the township. And I was actually using that storage unit when they went out of business. They didn't go out of business because they didn't have business. They went out of business because the land that that sits on was not owned by the person who run the storage units. They leased that land from the landowner, and apparently the landowner has some ideas for the future of it. I'm thinking and hoping that those future plans will be in the fairly near future, so I don't expect to see that sit there like that too long. But I think that that is what a lot of people, I've heard through conversations with all this storage unit, that we had one go out of business in town, and I'm sure that's the one that people are referring to. It was by the choice of the person running it, and it wasn't because they weren't doing good for business. They were full. But it was because they were forced out by the landowner who has plans for that property. I just wanted to make that clear for everybody. So there was a little better understanding of what's going on with that property.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak on open to the audience?
Mayor Forthover.
I'm sorry, Council President, this is in response to Mr. Taft's comments. Is that okay? I have asked the law director to prepare an ordinance prohibiting modular storage containers be prohibited in the same way that a proposal is up for junkyard ordinances. And I believe Councilman Holmes has also been interested in forwarding something like this. But that is about to come out just about the same way. It's not the same, I don't think, storage units as he's talking about, but it is tangentially related to the discussion of the project on Liberty Avenue.
Okay, what we will do is when we get that, we will set that for a legislative committee. That would be we're just going to move on. Mr. Taft, I see your hand up. I appreciate that. But we are going to set that for a legislative committee once we get that ordinance. I'm very interested in reviewing that and discussing that. So thank you. Anybody else coming up would like to speak and open to the audience?
I see no reactions or no hands.
Okay, thank you. We do not have any old business. We don't have any new business, do we? There's none on the agenda, but
no.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go to the reading of the ordinances. The first two are tabled. So we have the third reading of 2020-48. Did you want to go ahead and do that, Mr. Stumphauser?
Sure.
Thank you.
Third reading of ordinance number 2020-48. An ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor and the Vermilion Parks and Recreation Board of Chad Coons as Recreation Director for the city of Vermilion for the 2021 recreational programs, establishing a salary for such appointee, establishing compensation of certain authorized positions within the Vermilion Department of Parks and Recreation, as have been favorably recommended by the city's Park and Recreation Board, and declaring an emergency.
Do we have a motion to adopt ordinance 2020-48 and declaring an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, what I'm going to go ahead and do is just make a quick statement that it's my opinion this is appropriate for declaring an emergency. Mr. Coons is responsible for our city rec department. That does relate to the city's health overall. It's why we have a rec department. We have those activities funded by the city. Mr. Coons is doing a very good job, I think, in this particular position. It's my understanding that if we were not to, if this were to go and not in the next, if this were not to be passed by emergency, that there would be a break in salary. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Correct.
I think it's appropriate for emergency passage. So that's just my comment. And I just, the other thing I want to say, I think he does an excellent job with the job that he's been doing for several years now. So
Absolutely.
Any other questions or comments?
Okay.
Gwen, thank you. Call the roll.
Brady,
Yes.
Luca, Frank, you need to unmute.
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Hollivax,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
motion carried.
Proceed.
Third reading of ordinance number 2020-49, ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Vermilion, Ohio, to receive a subsidy from Brownhelm Township, Lorraine County, Ohio, for emergency medical services through the city of Vermilion's contract with Life Care Ambulance, Inc. of Elyria, Ohio, for the period of January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021, and declaring an emergency.
We have a motion to adopt ordinance 2020-49 and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
This is another matter that I believe is appropriate for emergency passage. It does relate to the health of the city. I realize that people who are in township may not be city, but we don't know who's in the township. They are our fellow citizens, so I believe it's pertinent for the city of Vermilion for its own health, or for our responsibility to look out for the health of the people to pass this by emergency without any breakup in the services provided, as it states clearly that January 1st, 2021 is the beginning of that term. So does anybody else have any commentary regarding this ordinance?
Yes, just to confirm, it does expire December 31st, the current contract.
Correct. Okay, Gwen?
Holmes,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Luca,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Hollivax,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
motion carried.
Proceed.
Third reading of ordinance number 2020-50, an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Vermilion, Ohio, to enter a contract with the Elasco LLC of Baltimore, Maryland, for the purchase of polyaluminum chloride to be used in the Vermilion Utilities Department, and declaring an emergency.
We have a motion to adopt ordinance 2020-50 and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Quick comment, I believe that this and the next 5 ordinances regarding chemicals are appropriate for emergency passage, given that the city needs them. I believe that's for the water department, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you. So any other questions or comments? Go ahead.
Halifax,
Yes.
Luca,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
motion carried.
Proceed.
Third reading of ordinance number 2020-51, an ordinance authorizing the director of the mayor of the city of Vermilion, Ohio, to enter into a contract with PVS Technologies of Detroit, Michigan, for the purchase of liquid ferrous chloride to be used in the Vermilion Utilities Department, and declaring an emergency.
We have a motion to adopt ordinance 2020-51 and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Gwen?
Holmes,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Luca,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Halifax,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. Proceed.
Third reading of ordinance number 2020-52, an ordinance authorizing the director of the mayor of the city of Vermilion, Ohio, to enter into a contract with SNF Polydyne Inc. of Riceboro, Georgia, for the purchase of Clarifox CE 1593 polymer to be used in the Vermilion Utilities Department, and declaring an emergency.
We have a motion to adopt ordinance 2020-52 and declaring an emergency.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Any discussion? Gwen?
Luca,
Yes.
Halifax,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. Proceed.
Third reading of ordinance number 2020-53. An ordinance authorizing the director of the mayor of the city of Vermilion, Ohio, to enter into contract with JCI Jones Chemicals of Barberton, Ohio, for the purchase of liquid chlorine to be used in the Vermilion Utilities Department, and declaring an emergency.
We have a motion to adopt ordinance 2020-53 and declaring emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Glenn?
Luca,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Hollivax,
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, proceed.
Third reading of ordinance number 2020-54. An ordinance authorizing the director of the mayor of the city of Vermilion, Ohio to enter a contract with the bonded chemicals of Columbus, Ohio for the purchase of hydrofluoric and liquid caustic soda, sodium hypochlorite, and sodium bisulfate to be used in the Vermilion Utilities Department and declaring an emergency.
We have a motion to adopt ordinance 2020-54 and declaring emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Glenn?
Holmes,
Yes.
Hollivax,
Yes.
Luca,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, proceed.
First reading of ordinance number 2020-58. An ordinance authorizing the mayor and the finance director to execute necessary and proper contract documents to provide casualty, liability, property damage, motor vehicle, police and fireman liability, errors and omissions, public official liability, umbrella, and other customary comprehensive insurance coverages as set forth in the bid specifications promulgated by the city of Vermilion, and declaring an emergency.
That will actually go to a second reading at our special city council meeting next week. And will be put on the legislative committee.
Then it will be a second reading on the special counsel. And then just so everybody will know, I will amend that caption because when I did the caption, I didn't have the information, but we've included Fitzgibbons, Arnold's and Company and with the term date. So I'll make that change for the 14th.
I would just ask council members to, take a look at that. If there's any issues, we need to discuss that. If not, we can move forward at that point.
Steve,
Yes, Councilwoman Brady.
will a representative from Arnold's be at the meeting?
Yes, Mayor Forthover, can that be arranged?
If you wish, it can be arranged for the 14th, correct?
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay, so we will meet next week, 6:00 p.m. via Zoom. Please notify Ms. Fisher if you would like to be linked up. I still get mixed up on the technical feature of it. And we will have a special city council meeting just after all of our committee meetings. I wish everybody well, continued good health. Please stay safe, do all the things we do for each other.
Steve, I just wanted to remind everybody, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
My office will be closed Wednesday through this Friday. So if they send a link, I will make sure by Monday that the meeting link is sent to everybody. Since tomorrow's my last day, but I will be sending out the Zoom meeting link for next week tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Okay, everybody have a good evening. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for the well wishes. For the
Happy
birthday
birthday,
wishes.
Barb.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
I started one heck of a war, didn't I?
Thanks,
All right.
Barb.
All
Thank
good.
you.
Yep. Take care.
Take care.